came to the decision of sending Kat somewhere. I actually did research online, came up with 2. Sovereign was first, and then there was another place, I believe, in the LA area that we came up with. In the end, presented it to Oscar and then to Amy and Ryan. We sat down and talked about it, and Ryan's sister actually had heard of Sovereign and gave a great review, so we just decided to go with Sovereign and give it a shot, really, and it was just mainly online, just doing some research, looking up stuff, and I called and spoke to Barry and Ryan. We sat down and spoke with Ryan about everything that was going on. I put it on the table, hey, let's send her somewhere. Ryan and Oscar agreed. That Friday, I made the phone calls, did the research, spoke to Barry. We decided that Friday. Saturday, all the insurance stuff got taken care of. Monday was just kind of just everything in the air. Tuesday, Oscar was like, we're doing it tomorrow. Bam, we were here that Wednesday. Fast and easy.
Very easy.
Very easy. And Barry was phenomenal. He texting constantly, hey, how are things going? How are you guys doing? Just very available to us at all times, even through text, because sometimes you can't call.
He was even really helpful about reinforcing that, you're doing the right thing. As scary as it is to send somebody, that you love to treatment, he was reassuring that you're doing the right thing. It was a lot of
disconnect.
Yeah.
On our end. With Katherine, she didn't live with us full time. She lived with Amy and Ryan full time, which was Monday through Friday, and we'd get her on the weekends. As she got older, things started to change, starting to shift. Over the past year and a half, her relationship with us started to change a little bit. And that kind of, her distance and the disconnect between us and her is really what did it for us. Then Ryan came to speak to Oscar and put just so much on the table that
her grades, because Kat was always really good with school and stuff like that, really responsible about things, and all that started to slip away. She started having a lot of emotional, physical outbursts, and
substance abuse.
Definitely the substance abuse was a big thing.
Yeah.
And it was scary hearing that was actually happening with her. Just didn't want it to get too far out of control. Like Sandy says, it was like she was just going down the rabbit hole. It was a scary thought.
We couldn't lose her without giving it everything that we had. And like we said before, it wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that needed to be said and done. And we couldn't lose her. That's just what it came down to. And our time and our window was closing out. She'll be 18 in January. So yeah, if we didn't do anything now, we didn't give it everything that we could, we only had ourselves to blame. And that's not okay. That's not okay. So we, jumped to action and did what we needed to do as a family.
I mean, I can only imagine what it was like on their end, but we knew that something was going on with Kat, but she had distanced herself, and we didn't know the small details. And it was once they reached out and they were like, look, this is what's going on. And at first it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
It was the whole, no, what are you talking about? It's Kat.
Yeah.
And when things came to light, then there was like the denial of everything of this happens to everybody else's kid. This doesn't happen to our kid. She's gonna be fine. It's a phase.
Or we can fix it. We can take care of it. It was hard. It was hard when you have 4 parents involved and be on the same page in that aspect. That is really hard. That is the hardest part, because we would just go back and forth, and we just needed to find something that unified the 4 of us. We needed to find an outlet, somebody else to tell us, hey guys, you're doing great, but we all need to be together here on this page. And again, seeking out treatment is what was the best and brought us all actually together as parents for her.
I could see where it would be difficult for a parent's just 2 people.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to see eye to eye. Then it's like, well, if you did this, well, if you did that, and then you put 4 people on top of it, But luckily for us, we're able to put everything aside and just be like, it's not about any of us. Mm-hmm. It's about Kat. It was, still knowing that everything was happening when we brought her down here. It was Sandy, myself, and Kat. And the drive down here, it was like our old thing back, we're listening to music, we're joking around, we're talking about, it was just like how it used to be. So it was like, is this really happening? And then you start questioning yourself again.
That day, that night, the next day.
It's not as bad as they're making it out to be, and let's just take her home, and I know that we could fix this.
Right. Yeah, and that day, that was so hard.
I think the realization to her was, this is really gonna happen. So then she was mad.
She even came up with some other excuses, like told us, some things, drugs are easy to get here and everybody's on drugs type of thing. And we're like, honey, well, it is what it is, and you're gonna have to step up. And if that's the case, you have to step up and excuse yourself from it and figure it out. And I think that pissed her off even more, because she was like, well, if I'm telling you this, why aren't you taking me out? Like her last ploy to try to get out of this place, and it didn't work. And I think at that point she was just like, whatever, I'm gone. She didn't want to deal with it, and she just left.
And like in her first, because we do the online video chats for the family therapy each week, and the first week she was just stone faced.
Yeah.
We made a couple little small breakthroughs in there.
Okay.
And then each time that we got to talk to her, you could see that spark coming back in her eyes, and you could see her face, just the light back in it. And she had that glow and just that fire back in her. I was screwing up, and I did have a problem, and I want to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's when everything really turned around. And I mean, the stuff that Malachi's doing with her, as far as like her credit recovery and stuff like that. I mean, she's gonna be a senior this year, and she's behind in her credits. So all of a sudden, even until Malachi laid everything down in front of her, and Kat was like, "Oh, I'm more behind than I thought I was."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she knows that when she leaves here, it's time to put the work in and get it done. And she's made some
great decisions for herself, some great stride. Oscar and I often discuss, her coming to live with us, getting her away from what was normal for her, getting her out of that circle and stuff. And we didn't even have to present it to her. First we did the day that we were bringing her, she's like, I don't want to live over there. I don't want to do that. And then she called us and she was like, I've been thinking about discharge and I don't want to go back to Madeira High. That's what she said. And in that moment, she's like, everybody knows me. I don't feel like I'm just gonna go right back, basically, to doing what I was doing. And it's there and it's hard. And Oscar and I saw the opportunity. We told her, like, look, we've been thinking about you coming to live with us. And the moment we said that, you could hear it in her voice. She needed that. She needed it. And we were more than happy to give it to her. And she's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go to a different school. I want to come up with you guys. I need to get that structure. I need to get out of what I was doing. And we were beyond excited. We still are. We're still so happy. We're so happy because we've never had her full time. We've never had her on that level to do day in and day out. She doesn't know our day in and day out life.
Yeah.
So I think, for her it'll be also a reality of what does happen at home and how much time we don't really have to just sit and lounge like we do on the weekends when she comes over, because weekends are the weekends, and Monday through Friday we're busy back to back practices and school and homework and just everything, just everything. So it's going to be great, structure and a great change for her in regards to that, and she's more than willing and accepting for it, and we're more than willing to give it to her. And that's her decision to better herself was amazing and exciting and really unexpected, and we were beyond stoked to hear it.
Not only was I, happy that we're gonna have Kat every single day, I was so proud of her for willing to make that change and being responsible enough to realize that I can't go back to the same place, because in her words, it was like she was setting herself up for failure. But I mean, especially all these friends that she had, the ones that were contributing to what she was doing and the ones that weren't. That was her life. So basically, in her senior year, she's willing to step away from that for herself.
Yeah.
And, as a parent, you see your kid make a big choice like that. And, I mean, we've always been so proud of her. And just in that moment, it went to a completely different level. Because I saw maturity, and it was just amazing.
For the most part, not too many people know. Oscar hasn't really explained to or divulged to anyone for whatever reason, and I don't want to step on any toes and be like, look, this is the way that it is. In all honesty, kind of the last time that Ryan came over to talk, I was already at my wit's end, because I am a talker. I'm not one that likes to keep things and pretend things are one way when they're not. That's really hard, but I also understand it's not everybody's business type of thing. So kind of walking a fine line, and I remember that night, I told myself, I was like, when he leaves to go talk to Ryan, because they were supposed to meet up, I wasn't going to cover for him, because my mother-in-law lives with us. And I'm like, I'm not going to cover. I'm going to be like, look, he went to go talk to Ryan, and if at that point Oscar wanted to say something, then, that was his prerogative type of thing. But Ryan, everything worked out the way I believe the universe was in line and worked out the way it needed to. Ryan came over to the house. My mother-in-law was off that day. She saw Ryan, immediately knew something was going on, and we then sat down and discussed it with her. It was really hard, because she's been constantly worried about coming, because again, a lot has changed, and she's been missing from our puzzle for so long. And people took notice, but for the most part, she's like, oh, she's just a teenager doing her own thing. So that night, my mother-in-law, found out and knew, and it was hard for her, and it was hard for us to tell her the extent of it, because Oscar didn't want to worry his mom. And I constantly say, it's like, she knows something's wrong, huh? Like, and now she's making up stuff, in her own head, and stressing herself out anyways. Just let her know. And he's like, I can't. And so I respected that was his decision, but it just came to a point where it's like, now's the time. Because I'm a firm believer, when you say it out loud, it's very real. And when it's very real, then you will take action and fix the problem. And again, so many moving parts. I couldn't be the only one. I needed, his support, and he needed my support, and then Amy and Ryan's. It was just a lot of moving parts. So within our family dynamic, I know for us changing and things being so different, it was really hard. It was really hard because we had her every single weekend. She was a part of everything, and then it stopped. And the little one was like, oh, she's just a teenager. She's being, a teenager and hanging out with her friends all the time, and she doesn't have time. It's okay type of thing. And we just let her run with it, because, again, it's information that didn't need to be discussed with the little one so much type of thing. And I know it was hard. And for myself, I know it's really hard. And I can only imagine.
It was, because, like Sandy said, we're not ones that, tell everybody our business and stuff like that. And I don't like to worry people. Whatever the problem is, don't worry, we'll take care of it, and we'll leave it at that.
Right.
And like she said, not until you say it to somebody else that there is a problem, it doesn't become real.
Right.
It wasn't, even with everything going on and knowing that we were gonna bring her here, it wasn't until I called my boss on the phone at work, and I was like, I'm coming into the shop right now, and I need to talk to you. And I have an operations manager, and I had 2 other managers at the time. And he goes, okay. I go, well, I need to talk to all of you guys. So he had one of the other service techs call me and started like some BS conversation with me. And he's like, so like they're coming to the yard right now? And I was like, and he's also a friend of ours, and Sandy's been friends with him for a long time, and we've become pretty close. And I was like, look, man, this is what's happening. And he knows the girls and stuff like that. And it wasn't till I told him that, like, I felt myself start to break down a little bit, and that was like the hard part. I want to carry the weight of everything and try to make everything okay. And Sandy's the same way. And so it wasn't until I sat down and I was like, look, this is what's really happening. And then after I left there, I was just like, oh my God, this is really gonna happen.
It's one thing to know, it's a different thing to realize it. They're two completely different animals, and you know things aren't okay, and you know things are hard, but realization, I feel, comes when it's said out loud to somebody else. And I am the opposite. I will talk to other people, not everybody. I have a really good friend at work who's also a friend outside of work that knows, again, same thing, knows the girls, and she's been a part of this whole thing. Every mood that I've ever gone through, my anger, my sadness, like everything, she's been kind of a part of it, and she sees me at work, and I know physically, and it's funny, we just talked about that, physically it manifested in itself. It was just a lot of stress, a lot of buildup, so much has been happening, and I just can't fix it, and that's the hardest part. And I can't just make the decision on my own and be like, look, I'm doing this, and screw you guys, because nobody else wants to help type of thing. And that is the controlling nature in me, and the wanting to just make things right again. Because really, like, I can't be bothered. Like, I just want to be happy and, like, enjoy my life. And when I have to be bothered, it's like, all right, let's fix it so we can just get back to being normal, because I can't be bothered. I just want to come home and enjoy my family and enjoy life, And it's, since I was a kid, people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I always would say happy. Who says that? Me. Like, I've always that's it, And happiness comes within, and when there's a hiccup, I'm just like, let's fix it, let's deal with it, and move on. Even though moving on for me isn't easy, because I hold on to a lot of stuff, a lot of grudges, and it's really hard, but I'd rather get it out there in the open, so therefore when I do want to talk about it, or we can't talk about it, it's not like starting all over. And that's really important for me. And so it was really hard. It was really, really hard, and physically, it's the only way that I could, I guess, deal with it, or my body dealt with it. And since Katherine's been here, like I've said it several times, I have not had a single panic attack, and I did not realize how bad it was affecting me. I had no idea. I had no idea that it had gone to that level, to that caliber. And it's insane. It's once you're like here, like, oh, now everything that's happened up until this point makes sense, and now you know how to deal with it and move on. And that's been great. It's been fantastic for us. It's really hard, and it's hard, and not to say that as a biological parent it's not easy, but it's really hard being a step parent, because you have, the biological, mom and father to try to, like, shake into reality, like, come on, like, come, let's do something, and it doesn't work, and then I am so completely powerless. Like, that just amplifies everything else that was going on, because I just felt so powerless to make any positive changes or movements without having, again, to get everybody on board. So when the time came, it was awesome and relieving, because it was like, okay, now we can move forward, and we can work at this, and that's what's important.
Like we said before, Barry was great in helping through the beginning process of everything, and everybody here is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, the staff, you guys are awesome. And I get, we spoke on the phone yesterday because we hadn't gotten our itinerary, and it wasn't anything that we were, like, upset about or anything, because it happens. It's so many moving parts. I get it. But there's not a single thing bad that we have to say about any of the staff, anyone that we've encountered or had to talk to. Or that everybody's been so open and so willing to help. It's such a relief. Really is such a relief. It's awesome.
The thing that, amazes me is that there's all these other families, all these other, kids here and whatnot, but every time that we talk to somebody, it's like, Kat's the only one.
Yeah.
That's the thing that absolutely just, it makes me feel great, because we're being spoken to on the outside, like, our kid's the only one here. I can only imagine the attention that she's getting and getting better, and that speaks volumes for what you guys do, and just the true passion that you guys have with your jobs, and that's you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
I know that we're really lucky and have
thankful.
Found
Pick the right place. That's a good feeling. again, just the simple fact that Ryan's sister had heard of it. That for us, because we were on the fence because we didn't know. You're going into this blind, shooting in the dark, trying to figure out what's the best decision. We're here, have to make this choice, which one's the right one. And in the end, if it was really, we could take her to the most nicest place. You know, the commercials like you see people like going in a rehab and it's like, oh, here's the spa and you're relaxed. You can send them there and they get nothing out of it because it's at the end of the day, it's what the work that they're willing to put in. So again, for us, it was the fact that, again, Ryan's sister had heard of Sovereign before, had heard great things, and that was it. That was sealed it for us. We're just like, let's give it a shot. It's in San Diego. Let's give it a shot. It's enough distance, you know, without having to go out of state. And again, dealing with Barry, who was, again, phenomenal. I cannot rave enough about him. He was just so great. And then here, calling, getting all the information, getting it out there, and everyone was willing to work with us. We got here late on Wednesday, and people stayed and did everything we needed to do, and then the next day we'll come back, we'll finish it all up. It wasn't, you never felt like you were rushed or putting anybody out by being here. Unfortunately, we got stuck in traffic. Sorry guys, like, not a problem, we'll wait, and they called to check up on us, you know, you guys okay, still coming? Yeah, we're still coming. It's just, again, just everything just led us to the right path.
Everything's like really put together. Everything's really professional. It's professional but welcoming at the same time, and it gives you peace that, you know, it's gonna be all right.
While we were here that night, you know, intake and everything, it was easy. A lot of questions were asked of us, and really trying to get to know us individually and as a whole, and that's really important because, again, lots of moving parts in raising this child, and lots of different personalities, lots of different opinions and points of view, and the questions that were being asked to us was really important, and also our ability to ask different questions in return and try and get the best answer that we could, and the right answer that we could. And it was really easy. And it's funny because I kind of compare this a lot to our friend who just had a baby. She's, you know, put her in daycare, and she called several different daycare places, and the one that they chose on was the one where every single time she called to get information, super welcoming, super friendly, super, yes, of course, I'll help you with that. And you're entrusting, you know, your baby to these people, and we're entrusting ours. And it's really important to get those good vibes, because that gives you a good gut feeling, and you have to go with your gut feeling always, because if something's off, then it's not right. It's not right, and then we cannot move forward. And that's, you know, so everything, again, from the first call to the last paper signed to today to right now, everything has been so easy and welcoming, and that's huge.
And even when, like, we ask questions, it's not we're being told what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that what was given to us as far as the answers is the truth. And everything's followed through with, and that definitely made us confident in our choice of being here.
So many different faces, so many different people from all walks of life are here.
Absolutely.
And I know with most recovery places, a lot of the people that work there have been in the same shoes as the kids and so forth, but it's comforting to be able to see, you know, you as a Latina, you know, to be here who you are, and then Malachi, who's, you know, super punk rock, and every walk of life. And that is important, because if the child does not click with someone, nothing's going to happen. You know, and you have so many different people to turn to and talk to and find someone that you're like, oh, I mesh well. I know Katherine said Ashley has nothing to do with her. She's not a clinician, not in her house, nothing, but her and Ashley have connected on a level that is, you know, and Ashley doesn't need to do that. She doesn't need to be like there for Katherine, because it's not, you know, who she's working with, but she has been, and she's been there for Kat, and I cannot thank her enough on that level. That's amazing for us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. You know, just this, again, the staff, you guys are awesome.
I mean, everybody's just super genuine, and it's like everyone's not here just for a paycheck or anything like that. It's the whole thing of, it seems like everybody's here because they want to be here, and this is what their passion is, and it shows in the level of care and just the way they are with not only the kids but with the parents.
It's funny, when we left, the day that we left, when I started college, I went into psychology because I wanted to work with kids. I love knowing what makes people tick. That's really important to me. I loved picking people's brains and knowing what's going on, and I went into the psychology field. I never did anything with it, never graduated, I just stopped going to school. And when we left here, I was like, I missed my calling. Like, I felt so inspired all over again because this is what I loved, and I lost that completely. And when we were here and like dealing with like the clinicians and everyone, I was just like, I miss my calling. I completely miss my calling, and it makes me really sad because it was so awesome. And that's the thing, and I feel like everyone here is like on that level. Like, this is what I want to do, and being here, and that's important because when you find something that you love, it's not work, it's your passion, and that's really important. It's
and
really
it shows.
Important. Yeah.
It shows.
Yeah.
I mean, besides being able to see Kat and talk with her, it helps out. Just having that outside person there that is like, well, I see this, and you do this, and that outside person that kind of mediates everything. And it's like, well, maybe it's this that you're feeling. So having those sessions like that, and especially with living far away, being able to do it online, and it actually allows it to happen. Otherwise, what would it be? It wouldn't a phone call. It doesn't work. So just having that option available is huge.
Yeah, the video chat, like, honestly, like, I feel is awesome. Going back to the other place that I had spoken with, they're just like, oh, you'll get a phone call, and like, I didn't feel too great about that because I feel you need to see people. You need to see the response, their body language, exactly because that's when you really get to know, like, oh, I said something because I saw you. Okay, so let's touch on that. Let's do this. And although it's essentially a phone call, it's a video chat, we get to see each other, and that's really important because it doesn't make it seem like we are completely missing out on each other, like we've just abandoned her, or she doesn't feel abandoned. Yeah, exactly. You're in trouble, or like it's really important, and I feel that has helped a lot, in being able to move forward and deal with any of the problems and any of the issues. And so, sometimes, it's double-edged sword. Sometimes you can see how sad somebody is, and then you shut down, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe let's not do that right now. And so it's kind of a little bit of both, but luckily for us, it's worked out, on the right side, on the better side. And the video chats, Claire's been awesome. She's been helping us, and she's great, and she's been really good, and really good if we get off topic to like bring us right back, and really good at calming Katherine down when she does get upset, or letting her. She's really good, and we definitely appreciate her and our therapy sessions with her so far. Here at the IFP, it's been awesome, pretty much everything you'd expect type of thing. It was fun this morning, we had that warm-up session, that was a lot of fun. And then I'm really glad that we have, the morning without the kids, and then she gets to come in. Because it's really important to be able to say what we need to say, get it out without, a child sometimes, because you, again, can't always be 100% honest because you don't want to trigger them at any point right now, especially when they're being so vulnerable. And then now she gets to be a part with us, a part of it with us for the rest of the day. And that's fun because we miss her so much, and we want to see her, and we want to grow as a family. So it's the best of both worlds, and it's been really good. It's been a really good experience so far. I know something that I learned, which was what put a strain on mine and Katherine's relationship, was that we were both kind of in the same boat. We were both feeling the exact same way at the exact same time, and it just caused a huge rift, between us. And it was good to know, and I told her, and I'm like, I'm glad that you were sad about it too, and not because I'm glad that you were sad, but I'm glad that it bothered you the way it bothered me, and that makes me, feel the love and know that it's still there, that we're still, that it was real, that it wasn't anything that was just like, well, I have to like her because she's my stepmom, well, I have to like her because she's my stepdaughter, our relationship was very real, and that was really important to me to know that, because for as hard as it is to admit, I need that validation from the kids. I do. I need it. And it's different, when you have an older, already established kid who you have to like win over, who has been, you know, in the seats and has dealt with a bunch of situations, and now you have to like, okay, tread lightly, how do I work this out? And you know, it was a little rocky at first, but it's definitely taught me that we feel the same way, and I need to, instead of ignoring it, address it and talk to her. And I'm good at talking to her about everything else and everybody else, but I wasn't good at talking to her about myself and her, and that's what I've gotten so far from it. So I feel like I'm good with that. I'm good that she was able to work on herself and let us know where she's at, because she's asked blatantly, I need help. And to say that, it's great. So that's what I've gotten from this, and I couldn't be any happier.
I think that Kat and I were able, and this is something that Sandy and I had talked about before, was being able to actually kind of establish where our relationship is, and just knowing that we, even though that we're close, there's a lot of things that, you know, we just need to work on together.
And that's something I've told her, just be honest. And kids don't seem to understand that, because the minute you're honest with yourself, and again, self-aware, is the minute that you are like, oh, okay, then if I can do this with me, I can do this with other people.
Yeah.
And I have always taken great pride in being self-aware. I can, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of things that I need to work on that I, you know, maybe turn a blind eye to, but I'm very self-aware. I always have been, and I think it's really important for everybody to be there, because I know when I'm being manipulative, I know when I'm being mean, I know when I'm being hurtful, I know when I'm being, you know, I know all these things, and everything that I do and have done, I'm aware of. And sometimes I get called out on it, and sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I'm like, all right, cool, you know, like leave it alone.
Dodge that.
Exactly. And you know, that's just human nature, and it is what it is. But it's important for us to know our own truths, because if we don't, then what do we have to offer other than just fake relationships? And that gets you nowhere in life. You know, I'd rather have a couple of solid, real, full-on honest relationships other than all the fake ones, and that's where you get caught up. So that's one thing I always tell the kids, and even our little one, I always tell them, you know, be the best, you know, Maddie that you can be, not who you think Daddy wants you to be, not who you think Mom wants you to be, not who you think anybody else wants you to be. You be you. And if that's annoying you because I tell you to shut up like all the time, you just keep being you, honey. It's not because I don't like who you are, it's just because I need some quiet time, you know? And that's important. A lot of good steps forward.
Like she said, truthful with yourself. You know, us as parents, when we're truthful about how we're parenting our kids and what we're doing and what we're not doing for them, instead of lying to ourselves and going, oh, they're doing a good job, and then realizing our own shortcomings. You know, we're helping make better kids that are going to be better in society, that are going to be better parents themselves.
We'll hopefully eventually become self-aware. That's what's important to me. That's it. Honestly, that is it. That is absolutely it. And if we can't get them there, make sure that we get the right help to get them there. And that's, again, what this place has given us. So that's important.
It's huge. It's a game changer. You know, I mean, we thought that we had a good relationship before, and it showed us that, you know, it wasn't as good as we thought it was. And, you know, we found ways to make it better that's going to bring us even closer together as a family. So, I mean, it's awesome. It's great.
It's good.
Yeah, most definitely. It's, you know, giving us that foundation to build up from. You know, you thought you had it once upon a time, and you realized that it was made out of sand and not concrete. You know, so it's given us a foundation, and that's the best part, because getting that foundation is important, because you can't build from anything other than a solid one. And so that's where we're at, and it helps us, it lets us know that we can move forward and work on it. And if we fall right back down to that foundation, and then even there's some cracks, it's not going to fall apart. It's not going to, you know, let us down. We'll always have something solid to carry us through. Because I mean, it's not, again, like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be all rainbows and unicorns when we get out of here. It's probably going to be even harder, because it's going to be reality and back to the real world and back to life, and taking 3 steps forward to take 4 back, and that's okay. And again, we have that solid foundation now, and it's, gonna chip and crack from time to time, but it'll never be the way it was before. And that's what's important.
To be able to communicate with each other. I mean, because me, myself, I'm like, are you okay? Well, what's wrong? Okay. And that's the end of that. I like to keep things short and simple, not the great when it comes to like real emotions, not the best at talking about them and stuff like that. And in talking with Kat, we realized that even more about each other, that we're the same like that. Mm-hmm. And so luckily we've always had Sandy to kind of help push us to the next level of talking about feelings and emotions. And I guess it's being in this situation that makes me realize even more that, well, you have to do it. Yeah, you okay? Okay, yeah, okay, let's go. And then you just start faking things after a while.
It's important to acknowledge that and to know that, oh, we're on the same page, but you're saying it this way and I'm saying it this way, but it means the same thing.
And Lauren's even caught us a couple times.
Yeah.
And she goes, I think you guys are saying the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, even with us, like sometimes, I'll say something and he'll say the same thing, and it just not too long ago, it was like in a text message, and I was like, well, this is one of those times where we're saying the exact same thing and we're just both getting frustrated with each other because we're on the same damn page. Like, let's just let it go. And I'm the one that usually keeps dragging things along. So for me to be able to tell him that was a huge step for me, because I will keep going. And he'll usually be like, dude, like, stop. And then I feel like I'm not being heard because I'm still constantly talking about the same thing. So it's a lot of little things. But I mean, right now it's learning how to listen and to communicate, and sometimes you communicate just by listening, and that's important. And that's, I feel like, again, like he said, Lauren has checked us a couple of times. She's like, oh, well, you guys are saying the same thing. We learn to listen to what each other is saying, and that's really big. That's something that's really important, because we can all be talkers and not be listeners. And where do we get with that? I mean, everything that we've already talked about. Her willingness to help herself, to be her own hero. That's what's important, because I think for the longest time, and honestly, for the longest time, she validated herself by the attention that she got, from her dad, for example. She sought that out a lot. And not to say that it's not necessary or she doesn't need that. I think she's starting to be a little bit more self-aware in the sense, like, okay, like, I'm in this dark place because I keep allowing myself to be there. Like, I'm gonna try to work things out. Or not only that, but excusing herself from situations within the house that she has, drama with the girls, because it's easy to get caught up. It takes a strong person to bite your tongue and walk away. Trust me, because I mean, we're women, we're girls, we've been there, we've done that, and do it every single day. And that's something that she's really worked on. Which is big, because her big mouth gets her in trouble, and just like my big mouth gets me in trouble.
I've always been the one that told her, stand up for yourself. Don't take nothing from anybody. But she's learned, and I've been more aware of telling her, you have to pick and choose your battles in life, kid.
Yeah.
You can't fight over everything. Otherwise, you just become that person that's just
constantly angry.
Just that angry person, and then what you're saying doesn't hold anything. Instead, when you pick your battles, when you stand up and say something about it, then people will listen to you instead of you just being the complainer. So seeing that is a big thing. Taking responsibility
for her actions.
And not putting the blame on other people or other things, and hopefully becoming able to validate her own actions.
And it's funny, because that's kind of what I always told Oscar, was like, I just need her to accept responsibility for where she is. I'm not saying that things in her life haven't, brought her here or, helped her to make the choices that she has, but at the end of the day, you have those choices. You're a big kid. And I remember, just about the beginning of the year, we sat down and had a conversation, and I told her all the things that I did as a kid. And she asked me, and she's like, why did you do those things? I was like, Katherine, because I wanted to. Not because there was anything wrong, not because, you know, I wanted to party and I wanted to have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that, but own it. Own it. Everything that you ever do, own it. And that's one thing that I tell, you know, again, the little one, and there's nothing that I'll never say that I can't say to somebody's face. Like if I say this, you know, I mean I can, but I choose not to because it's just gonna cause all these other problems. But if I say it and if someone asks me, yeah, own it. Own it. Own your decisions, own your choices, own everything you made because you did them. And at one point you wanted to. And that's just what it comes down to. It's not because, oh, I didn't get attention from this person. Oh, that's because this person doesn't love me. Oh, that's because, you know, it's because, well, shit, you wanted to do it. And that's okay. And that's okay. That's okay. And that's what's important. And that's one thing that I need her to know. And I think, you know, being here, she started to, you know, realize like, okay, you know, well, I did this because I screwed up. And she had to that. She goes, you know, I messed up. She goes, I messed up a lot and I'm ready to make it better. Trust the hands that you've placed your child in because there's not one single person that I cannot, you know, reach out to and get a response within the same day. It's not sure it's going to take an hour or two or a whole day, but I will always get a response. It's just a matter of having patience. And to everyone here and the staff here and being able to get a hold of somebody and just back and forth questions, anything. It's been really relieving, and just trust the decision that you have made because you're here for a reason. You have ended up at this decision, at these crossroads for a reason. The universe guides you, let your gut guide you, let your decision guide you that it's good, and trust the hands that you've placed your child in because it's been great.
So thankful for every single person here. It's hard because there's so many feelings and emotions that go along with this. It is hard to put into words sometimes, and just, I mean, how just genuine this place is and the people that are here help the process. And over time, everything's just been reassured that we made the right choice in being here. Wow. Seeing that light back in Kat's face makes me know that we made the right choice. Yeah. Just thank you to you and everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
That's not enough of what I feel just to say thank you.